Hello, my dear children. Today we will continue with this explanation of the same chapter. And by far, you know that Walt and Madge they have a dog who looks like wolf, and the dog also has behavioral issues. One morning, when Walt, Madge, and dog were out for a walk, they met a stranger named Skiff Miller who was there to meet his sister. And Madge was amazed to see how dog, who was not friendly with others at all, is showing too much affection to this stranger. Is that what you call him, Wolf? The man asked. The man here is Skiff Miller. Skiff Miller is asking. When Madge said that she was amazed and she has never seen this wolf make up to a stranger before, so the man, the stranger Skiff Miller, was surprised to know that they call him a wolf. So, see paragraph 22. He lifted one of Wolf's forelegs and examined the footpads, pressing them. Kind of soft, he remarked. He ain't been on trail for a long time. He turned to Madge and Walt and asked, How long have you had him? In this paragraph, stranger is examining the footpads of the dog and he feels that it's very soft, which shows that for a long time he has not came out for a walk. And he also asked Madge and Walt that since when they have this dog. But just then the dog, squirming and rubbing against the newcomer's leg, opened his mouth and barked. Now you know that the dog has never barked before, and now when this person has come, what he is doing, the dog was showing his love to the stranger, and the dog was making restless movements, and also the dog was making rubbing its body against the newcomer's leg, and suddenly the dog opened the mouth and barked. Walt and Madge stared at each other. The miracle had happened. Wolf had barked. So it was something very strange because this wolf is barking. It was a miracle because it never barked before. It's the first time he ever barked, Madge said. First time I ever heard him too, Miller added. Madge smiled at him. The man was evidently a humorist. Of course, she said, since you have only seen him for 5 minutes. Skiff Miller looked at her sharply. I thought you understood, he said slowly. I thought you understood that he is my dog. His name ain't Wolf, it's Brown. How do you know he's your dog? Walt demanded. Because he is, was the reply. In these paragraphs, they are exchanging conversation about the dog. When Madge said that she has never heard this dog barking, Skiff said that he has also heard it for the first time. Madge said that it's because it's only 5 minutes since you have met him. Actually, here, Skiff Miller was trying to be funny. The way dog was showing his love to Skiff Miller, it was evident, it was a proof that this dog knows a Skiff Miller and dog belongs to Skiff Miller. When he claimed that he is the master of the dog, Walt demanded to know that how does he know that he is his dog. Now see paragraph number 32. Skiff Miller turned to the dog. Brown! His voice rang out sharply, and at the sound the dog's ears flattened down. Gee! The dog made a swinging turn to the right. Now mush on! And the dog ceased his swing abruptly and stared straight ahead, obediently at the command. Skiff Miller smiled proudly. He was my lead dog. Here in this paragraph number 32, Skiff Miller is giving different commands to the dog. First, he called out his name, Brown. The dog was active enough immediately. He flattened its ear for further command. And then Gee, that made the dog swinging turn to the right. And then mush on. When he said mush on, the dog stopped swinging and waited for the further commands. And Skiff Miller then smiled proudly and said that he was his lead dog. But you are not going to take him away with you, Madge asked tremulously. No, he won't, Walt announced in a determined voice. Perhaps you want to sell him. We can buy him. Skiff Miller shook his head and said, I reckon there is nothing in sight to prevent me taking the dog right here and now, and I ain't a selling him. But what about the dog? Madge cried. Have you considered the dog? Skiff Miller looked puzzled. Maybe the dog has some choice in the matter, Madge went on. Maybe he has his likes and desires. It has never entered your mind that possibly he would like to stay here and not go back. When Walt and Madge both realized that the dog actually belonged to Skiff Miller, Madge was afraid that Skiff Miller will take away the dog. And when she showed her doubt, Walt was very firm that he won't take the dog away from us, and Skiff might sell the dog to them. And Skiff denied this. He said that he will not sell his dog, and there is nothing that will stop him from taking away this dog. Listening all this, Madge said that this dog also has his own choices, his own likeness, and Skiff Miller is not considering the choice of the dog. So Skiff looked a little confused about this. And now see paragraph 40. This was a new way of looking at it, and Miller was clearly debating about it in his mind. Madge realized he was unsure and used the opportunity to persuade him that the dog had a choice. If you really love him, what would make him happy would make you happy too, she urged. So now when Madge said that dog has also got his own choices, the Skiff looked confused at this, and she thought that okay, now this person is confused, he is unsure about the thing, and what I have said has actually hit his mind. She immediately grabbed the opportunity and said, if he truly loves his dog, he would find his happiness in the happiness of the dog. Miller thought for a while and said slowly, your remarks, ma'am, have some weight in them. We'll let him choose. Whatever he says goes. You people stay right here. I'll say goodbye and walk off. If he wants to stay, he can stay. If he wants to come with me, let him come. I won't call him to come, and don't you call him to come back. So this was a deal between them. Miller actually agreed with Madge and said that I will go from here and you just stay here. I will also not call the dog to come, and you also don't call if he comes with me. And let the dog choose where he wants to be. Fine, we'll play fair, Madge said. Well then, I might as well be getting along, Skiff Miller said in the ordinary tones of one departing. At this change in his voice, Wolf lifted his head quickly and still more quickly got to his feet when the man and woman shook hands. He sprang up on his hind legs, resting his forepaws on her hips and at the same time licking Skiff Miller's hand. When the latter shook hands with Walt, Wolf repeated his act, resting his weight on Walt and licking both men's hand. This paragraph shows affection of the dog towards both the owners. What was happening when Skiff Miller shook hand with Madge? The dog lifted his forepaws and put it on the hip of Madge and licked Skiff Miller's hand. When Skiff Miller shook hand with Walt, the dog put his paws on Walt's hip and licked both the hands, Skiff Miller's hand also and Walt's hand also. This shows that the dog was now attached with both the parties. And now it was time for the dog to choose one owner. And what he did, see in paragraph 46, it ain't going to be easy, I can tell you that, were the Klondike's last words as he turned and went slowly up the trail. Here in this paragraph, Skiff Miller is saying that it will be very difficult, it's not going to be easy. For some time, Wolf watched him go. Then, with a quick low whine, he sprang after him, overtook him, caught his hand between his teeth, and strove gently to make him pause. When Skiff Miller turned and he started walking, this dog watched for some time, and then he started making a sound like crying. And then whine means a sound, similar sound like crying. And he ran after him and took his hand between his teeth and tried to stop him. Feeling in this, Wolf raced back to where Walt Irvine sat, catching his coat sleeve in his teeth and trying vainly to drag him after the retreating man. He then turned his attention to Madge. He snuggled his head in her lap, nudging her arm with his nose, an old trick to his when begging for favors. Now, after following Skiff Miller, the dog failed to stop Skiff Miller. The dog turned back to the new owners, Walt and Madge. What he did was, first, he caught the sleeves of Walt in his teeth and tried to drag him, means asking him to walk along with Skiff. Then, when he noticed that this person is not listening, he drew his attention to Madge, and then he applied his old trick of begging favors. He rubbed his head in lap of Madge and also pushed her arms gently with his nose. This too he soon abandoned when they did not move. Wolf waited for a long minute silently and quietly. So he stopped doing this also when he saw that they are not taking any action, they are not responding, and he stopped doing this. He waited for a long minute silently and quietly. Then he was on his feet. He had made up his mind. His eyes were fixed up the trail. He broke into a trot which turned into a run. Not once did he turn his head. He cut sharply across the curve of the trail and was gone. So when dog noticed that they are not moving, what he did? He made up his mind. He was staring straight ahead at the trail and he began his drive. He started slow walking and then it turned into a run. And after that, he did not look back and he ran with Skiff Miller. So that shows that dog chose Skiff Miller and not Walt and Madge. What do we learn from this story? That if something doesn't belong to us, we can't have it, no matter how much do we want it. If something is actually yours, if something God has made for you, that will definitely come to you no matter how much someone or situation stops it. No matter, it will definitely come to you. I hope you have understood the chapter. If there is something that is not clear, please ask. Thank you.